Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Andrew Missick. I'm running for Texas State Legislature, HD 18, and that represents Liberty, San Jacinto, Hardin, and East Montgomery County. And an issue that's very important for Liberty and San Jacinto counties is the issue of Trey Harris and Colony Ridge, Terrenos, Houston, which is a large so-called land development. And there are reports that there's cartel activity over there, that there's sex trafficking, illegal arms trafficking, drug selling and trafficking, human trafficking. It's horrible what's going on over there. And environmental damage, exploitation of illegal aliens. And what do we do about this? Well, vote for me. So the question is, what can we do? What can we do? Well, what you can do is vote Ernest Bailes out. Vote for me. I'm going to tackle the issue of Colony Ridge, Terrenos, Houston head on. Now, I want you to be informed about the issues. And what I want to do in this video is read a letter from Attorney General Ken Paxton. So you can just listen to it instead of having to read it for yourself as you drive along if you want to be informed. This is very important, a very important issue that has a lot to do with this election and actually the survival of our community. So an important thing about Ernest Bailes and Ken Paxton, of course, Ken Paxton was impeached for over nothing, but because he's a Trump MAGA conservative. That's why. He's not a RINO. He's the real deal. And so they impeached him. And Ernest Bailes was involved in this impeachment attempt against Ken Paxton, which is an outrage. An outrage. So, finally, this issue of Colony Ridge has been going on for a long time. But finally, it has been dealt with or exposed. We have reporting by Wayne Dolcefino is one of the first ones who tackled this issue. And then we have Todd Bensman. But it was the Daily Wire that kind of broke the story and made it mainstream. And it's amazing to see, the investigative reporting done by Wayne Dolcefino is fantastic, but it's not getting any traction. Now the story has traction. Now people know. Now our voices are being heard. It was like we're banging our heads against the wall. We weren't making any difference, seemingly. Trying to get this information out and it's falling on deaf ears. But now it's different. Now we have media attention. Now we have people who are aware. And now we have this issue being confronted. So also thank God for Ken Paxton. He's confronting the issue. And I want to read his letter in its entirety, so you can understand what's going on. So while you're driving along, just turn on this video and listen. I'm running for state representative for many reasons, but one of the reasons is to tackle the issue of Trey Harris, Ernest Bailes, and Colony Ridge head on and be an advocate for the interests of our people and our community against what Ernest Bailes and Trey Harris have been doing to us. We're going to hold them accountable and bring deliverance. So this was a letter from Ken Paxton, Attorney General of Texas, dated October 19th, 2023. Now, the story about Colony Ridge, this has been going on probably since, I think 2013, but 2015 or 16 when I became aware of it and, been engaging with the issue. But it became, the story broke. We got Michael Berry and other people talking about it on September 15th, around that time, when the Daily Wire carried the story. So here we go. Ken Paxton, Attorney General of Texas, October 19th, 2023. Dear members of Congress, thank you for your September 30th letter concerning the rapidly expanding Liberty County development known as Colony Ridge, which has become an issue of national concern. I write today to share the Office of the Attorney General's findings and analysis. The development appears to be attracting and enabling illegal alien settlement in the state of Texas and distressing neighboring cities and school districts. Complaints from nearby communities about the development's scale of growth and unmanageable externalities reveal that this unincorporated settlement has drawn far too many people and enabled far too much chaos for the current arrangement to be tolerated by the state. Texas has seen a growing trend of real estate developers buying huge quantities of undeveloped land, creating primitive subdivisions, and selling the bare lots in a practice often paired with offering minimal down payment, high interest owner finance loans. These loans require little identification, lax development codes for unincorporated areas, mean residents can crowd into a property and the residential population can expand quickly. This form of real estate development and financing has created an attractive opportunity for non-citizens to cross the border and settle in Texas, with fast-growing developments the size of entire cities, forcing nearby areas to struggle to adapt to and even subsidize the influx of new residents, enriching the developers. This is Trey Harris that is speaking of. The scale of the Colony Ridge development has proved unmanageable for effective law enforcement and other key standards of acceptable governance. Violent crime, drug trafficking, environmental deterioration, public disturbances, infrastructure overuse, and other problems have plagued the area and nearby towns. Upon investigation, the Office of the Attorney General found that Colony Ridge in particular was made possible by a special arrangement created by Senator Robert Nichols and Representative Ernest Bailes. This is state senator and state representative. This isn't in Washington, this is in Austin. Municipal Management District, that's an MMD, authority was specifically granted to create an advantageous carve-out for the Colony Ridge development to act virtually as its own city. This is a substantial deviation from the lawmakers' original intent for MMDs. Notice we're talking about Trey Harris here. He's the man that they're giving all these privileges to. In 1991, the legislature created the Municipal Management District Authority through Chapter 375 of the Texas Local Government Code. Legislative findings and purposes in Chapter 375 generally show that MMDs were intended to be used to revitalize already developed urban commercial areas rather than to develop raw land. MMDs were originally used as an extension of the city government, providing tax authority to residents to beautify their communities and improve local economic conditions. In 2017, Representative Ernest Bailes and State Senator Robert Nichols specifically took action on behalf of Colony Ridge, i.e. Trey Harris, to enact HB 4341, Chapter 3795 of the Special District Local Laws Code, which established a small 5-acre municipal management district from undeveloped land in Liberty County. Critically, this MMD was surrounded by countless more acres of undeveloped land owned by a real estate developer whom the statute made president. This is so corrupt, I'm sorry. Of the MMD Board of Directors, and he remains in that role, Trey Harris. 4 of the 5 current board members work for Colony Ridge. The 5-acre MMD controlled by board president Trey Harris then annexed tens of thousands of acres of land also owned by Mr. Harris. Thus, rather than being a small urban revitalization district, is a sprawling, highly populated settlement that will soon outpace the population of many cities in Texas, yet is ungoverned by any meaningful authority other than the developers whose primary interest is selling more property to new residents. MMDs have taxation authority and can issue tax-exempt bonds, meaning the entity can raise money and finance its own growth without a bank scrutinizing its high-risk activities that may contradict the public interest. Further, a growing town would typically incorporate into a nearby area before growing to this scale. Instead, the managers of this district function as the unelected, unaccountable leaders of a city that is inhabited by an unknown population, including unvetted foreign aliens, and whose unsustainable growth is protected by a specific state carve-out. The burden displaced onto the surrounding areas to subsidize public services needed by those residing in Colony Ridge is significant. Let me read that again. The burden displaced onto the surrounding areas to subsidize public services needed by those residing in Colony Ridge is significant. The true costs of the development are often borne by the rest of the people of Texas. For example, the Cleveland Independent School District is growing faster than any other in the entire state, with Colony Ridge contributing the vast majority of that growth. The number of Cleveland ISD students has more than tripled in recent years. Now over 10,000 students and is projected to double size again in less than 10 years. To illustrate how severely this arrangement diverges from the intent of the legislation creating the MMDs, the 1991 statute says the creation of each municipal management district is necessary to promote, develop, encourage, maintain employment, commerce, economic development, and the public welfare in the commercial areas of the municipalities and the metropolitan areas of the state. Local Government Code Section 375.001B. But Colony Ridge is neither a commercial area of a municipality nor a metropolitan area of the state. According to the statute, this means that Colony Ridge is violating the letter of the law. According to the statute, a municipal management district is designed to provide needed funding for metropolitan areas to provide, maintain, and enhance the economic health and vitality of the areas as community and business centers. Local Government Code Section 375.001H, Colony Ridge is not a metropolitan area, and the district does not promote Colony Ridge as a community or business center. In fact, in a 2019 interview, the developer insisted extra state funding was needed to accommodate the growth of residents because the area had so little commercial tax revenue relative to other parts of the state that more readily absorb population growth. Further, the statute says the purpose of this chapter is to promote and benefit commercial development and the commercial areas throughout the state. Each improvement project or service authorized by this chapter is found and declared to carry out a public purpose. Quoting from Local Government Code Section 375.001L. But Colony Ridge's MMD does not promote or benefit commercial development or commercial areas, so it's not functioning according to the law. It's in violation of the law. And then the Attorney General concludes with these statements. I am beyond disappointed in Senator Nichols and Representative Bailes for apparently working to enrich specific developers, Trey Harris, at enormous expense to the rest of the public and reduce the quality of life for their own constituents. I have watched journalists and politicians alike downplay this problem. In lockstep, they minimize the scale, cost, and worst of all, the unjust deprivation of self-governance endured by the people of Texas who never ascended to the creation of a sprawling, unincorporated, ungoverned zone that caters in no small part to other country citizens, but forces them, us, the citizens of this area, the citizens of Texas, to pay for the associated costs. Kim Paxton concludes finally by saying, Thank you for your attention to this matter. I commend Governor Abbott for requiring the legislature to address the issues pertaining to Colony Ridge in the special session. My office is coordinated with the governor's team to prioritize this issue, and I urge the legislature to address this growing crisis created by some of their own members' hidden agendas. Senator Nichols and Representative Bailes created these problems with their initial legislation. Now the legislature must undo what they have tolerated in their own districts for years. So he sent this letter to Congressman Brian Babin, I guess Congressman Troy Niels, Congressman Morgan Luttrell. These are all congressmen here. Michael McCall, Chip Roy, August Pfluger, Nathaniel Moran, Pat Phelan, Kay Granger, Ronnie Jackson, Michael Burgess, Keith Self, Randy Weber, Pete Sessions, Roger Williams, John Carter, Tony Gonzalez, Dan Crenshaw, Beth Van Deen, Lance Gooden, Monica De La Cruz, and then Governor Greg Abbott, Dave Phelan, the Speaker of the House. Back to Congressman Wesley Hunt. I've heard him speak. He's from the Tomball area. Jake Elsley, Jody Arrington, Michael Cloud, and is also sent to the Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. So this is pretty much all the congressmen from the state of Texas. So this is a big, important issue, and it's an outrage. It's an outrage. Ernest Bailes has to be voted out of office. We can't have this, and this issue has to be directly confronted. It's shocking and it's offensive, and of course, both State Senator Robert Nichols is a Republican in name only, and so is Ernest Bailes. So this is probably part of a ploy to, Ernest Bailes has actually gone to events campaigning for Democrats wearing a purple shirt to show his solidarity with the movement to flip Texas blue. He wears his purple shirt to show that he wants to transition Texas from red to purple to blue. I live here. It's really heartbreaking to see what's going on. The damage to our community and the exploitation of illegal aliens and just the immorality, hidden agendas. And Ernest Bailes is running for re-election. We have to defeat him. So please support me in my campaign. This is a very serious issue. We need somebody that's very serious about this issue, as I am. I live here. I've seen how it's affecting our community. It's affected me. And I want to put it into Colony Ridge and force Trey Harris to close up shop and do a criminal investigation of him. One of the sad things is, since this is really sad, the Texas House has a Republican majority, but it's controlled by the Democrats. There's a film by the Texas Scorecard called The Texas Heist. Watch it. It's on the Texas Scorecard. It's on YouTube. You can watch this video. It's less than an hour. It's about 45 minutes long, but it shows how you have all these Democrats who run the Republican ticket, and you have the out-and-out Democrats who vote as a bloc. So the RINOs approach the Democrats and say, well, you want to keep power in that Texas House, don't you want this? Even though you're a minority party, we want you to run things. We want to run things. We're secret Democrats. So the Democrats select the most liberal Speaker of the House, Dave Phelan, who's hopefully going to be run out of office. So what's going on is this issue was brought before the special legislative session, but nothing's done about it yet. Why? Because Ernest Bailes is there. As long as Ernest Bailes is so-called, as long as he's not representing this district at all. He's representing Trey Harris and his own corrupt interest. But as long as Ernest Bailes is there, and as long as Dave Phelan is the Speaker of the House, the issue is going to be really difficult to deal with the issue of Colony Ridge. They had some kind of dog and pony show. In the end, they're supposed to increase law enforcement in that area, which is a concession that we've been saying how it's lawless and controlled by the drug cartels. Must be true. But as long as Trey Harris is allowed to keep this charade going on, this scam, it doesn't matter sending law enforcement agents, especially if he's got his little quasi-municipality, his fiefdom, the kingdom of Trey Harris. As long as he's in that position, these law enforcement, either it's not going to actually be sent to that area, the money is going to be taken and stolen and embezzled, or if the law enforcement is allowed to go in there, they're not going to really tackle the issue, because what's happening in Colony Ridge is happening according to a plan, Trey Harris's plan. And as long as he's in there, these police are probably going to answer to him. So he wants lawlessness. He wants, apparently, the cartel control. So that's not a way to deal with the issue. We have to deal with Trey Harris and Colony Ridge, and we've seen there's many ways. There's many, many, many ways that we can tackle this issue. And when I'm state rep, we will put an end to what's going on over there, and we're going to send Ernest Bailes and Trey Harris packing. So, election day, primary election day, vote for me, please. It's not about me. It's about Colony Ridge. Vote for me, please. It's not about me. It's about Colony Ridge and putting an end to it. It's about your community. It's about having somebody that's going to fight for you and your interest and not work against your interest and not work against our community. March 5th, 2024. That's primary election. And if we can decisively vote Ernest Bailes out of office, we can begin tackling the issue of Colony Ridge and hold Trey Harris accountable for what he's doing and put an end to this travesty. So please, don't wait to the March 5th. There's early voting. Make sure you register to vote. Vote early. Let people know. Let people know what Ernest Bailes and Trey Harris are doing. We can stop it. This is a democratic process, and the voice of the people can be heard. And we're going to fight for the interest of American people. I'm going to put it into Colony Ridge, Tyrannos, Houston, and save Liberty, San Jacinto County, and all of HD 18. So please, hope you listen to this. Put the word out. We can take power. We have the power, and we can rise up and put an end to Trey Harris and his wicked designs and liberate our county from him. We can do it. Please support me as we put an end to Terranos use in Colony Ridge. So be informed, let other people know, and vote.